Hi, I'm Neil Schwartz, president of SBRnet. SBRnet stands for Sports Business Research Network, and SBRnet is a service that the University of Florida subscribes to help sports management as well as folks in other majors understand what's going on in the business of sports. We are focused 100% on the business side of sports. So what I'm going to do today is talk to you a little bit about SBRnet and different ways you can use it and how you can integrate it into your classrooms. So first, let me talk a little about SBRnet and really what it can be used for. So first of all, a little bit about me. I have been in the sports business for over 25 years. I have had the opportunity to work with leading brands, retailers, um, teams, leagues, and really just about everyone else that's been involved in the sports business in one way or another. I have over, again, 25 years in the sports business. So SBRnet at its core provides data across three major areas. Number one is sports fandom and sports fan intelligence. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in depth a little bit later in the presentation. But the sports fandom data is really what we are most noted for. But we also feature data focused on sports participation. And again, this is data that we don't make. This is data that we buy. But again, it's great data. It really covers an aspect of the business of sports focused on participation. So if you're looking, let's say, to develop a new product for pickleball, or you're looking to develop a new pair of shoes for soccer, this is great data that will help you understand the addressable market size. And last but not least is our equipment, footwear, and apparel sales data. We have data for both global here in the domestic here in the United States, as well as globally. So we really, again, have data focused on the three major areas of the sports business. But what I'd like to focus on mostly today is the data that's focused on sports fandom. And this is data that can be used in a wide variety of applications, whether you're using it in sports marketing, sports finance, sports strategic planning, really anything to do with the business of sports. We have data that helps you, make better decisions, can help guide you in terms of any sort of problems or challenges or decision making. The data that we are most noted for, though, is our annual consumer study focused on sports fandom. Our sports fandom data literally covers over 19 separate sports, and there are some subsets, especially in the area of women's sports, which are very popular right now. But I know the slide on the screen right now is kind of small, but this is to show you literally all of the categories that we are collecting as part of our annual study of sports fandom. Last year, we interviewed over 7,050 sports fans to include as part of our internet-based collection methodology. The data is collected based on a nationally representative sample of persons 13 years and older using a variety of data points to balance the collection, like gender, marital status, geography, education, income, and presence of children in the household. So as an example, the slide on the screen talks about overall fandom trends. We have data all the way back to 2012. So you can literally look at all the sports that we measure to understand fandom growth. Now, we define a fan, by the way, as someone that either attends a game live in person or watches at least one game via streaming or traditional television or traditional viewing, cable plus satellite. But as you can see in this example, we did a year over year change from 23 to 24. We looked at year over year change, and then we looked at the 3-year rolling average. So you're able to look at data a wide variety of ways. The data on the screen now is focused solely on attendance. Now, in 2020, the pandemic year, we did not measure live attendance for a variety of reasons. It's very important to us that we preserve the trends. And by leaving attendance out in 2020, we were able to keep those trends pretty steady and pretty constant. So it's very important to understand what we're doing. Here's the chart on the screen now focused on viewership. This combines both traditional viewership, cable satellite, as well as streaming. So again, you can get an idea about what sports fans are doing and then where they are consuming their various sports. Again, we cover 19 separate sports across 70 separate categories of data. There's an awful lot of data there for you to work with. This is a chart on the screen right now that focuses solely on streaming because streaming really has grown. If you look at like the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, you really see where streaming has grown. And then really how leagues, teams, and various sports organizations are able to utilize streaming media in a variety of different ways. Now, before I go on to the website and show you all the data specifically, up on the screen is my current contact information. If you want to know how to use Sports Market Analytics, which is the platform in SBRnet, please reach out to me at Neil at SBRnet, and I'm happy to spend some time with you to discuss a variety of different ways that you are able to use this SBRnet data. So what I would like to do now is to share our data focused on sports fandom. And actually, this comes directly from our site. So what I'm going to do is pull the data up, and it's right there. And then I'm going to share it. So what you're looking at now is the front page of SBRnet. And this really gives you a good idea about the kinds of data that we feature. As I talked earlier, we feature data for participation. And as I mentioned, we cover 88 separate sports when it comes to talking about sports participation. And again, the data goes all the way back to 2012. We've got data, again, we talked about apparel, footwear, and equipment sales data. I know it's a little small. I'm going to make it a little bigger. But again, this data focuses on all the sports that you see here. It includes footwear, equipment, and apparel data. And the interesting thing that we've done is that the data through 2024 is actual data. And then the data from 2025 through 2030 is data that we projected using the traditional CAGR or compounded annual growth rate formula. So you can see what the future looks like for many sports. But what is really the most well-known thing that we are is our annual study of sports fans. We literally cover 23 separate sports. That includes all of the major professional, college, minor league, as well as a number of subsets within women's sports. And we cover, of course, all individual sports, auto racing, golf, tennis, MMA. So again, it's a very comprehensive service that really helps you understand the business of sports. Now, the data is all available via the UF Library website. If you go to the website, you click on databases and then type in either SBRnet or Sports Market Analytics, you will be brought to the site. There is no password. There is no login information that is required. We've set up an automatic login system. But as I mentioned, one of the things that we're most noted for is our annual study of sports fandom. If you look on the right, all of the sports that we currently cover are mentioned. So literally everything from college basketball to Formula One, esports, MMA. So really whatever sport you're looking to cover, we are able to provide you data focused in that area. Now, before I go on to a little bit more about data, I wanted to show you something up here. This is what we call our Sports Business Resource Center. As an example, we have a series called SBRnet in the classroom. I am frequently asked to come in and speak about data, either in general, speak about SBRnet, or speak about specific topics, sports gambling as an example. So here I came in and spoke to an MBA class focused on the business of sports. But again, I've done sessions on marketing research in sports. I've done sessions focused on sports finance. So if you're looking for ideas and ways to use the SBRnet service, it's here. Now, the last thing I want to show in the Resource Center is our own show called My First Job in Sports. Now, of course, all of your students, one of the things they want to do is get a job in sports. So what we do is that we interview people who are in their first, second, third, or in some cases, fourth job in the business of sports and talk with them about what they learned and what they did in order to help them get that first job. The one up on the screen now is Sally Gordon, who is in the sports tourism side of things. This is Luca DePena, who works for Austin FC in MLS, and he is a data analyst. This is Demaria Wesley, and again, he attended Hampton University, and he works again in a variety of different areas, focused specifically with the New Jersey Devils as well as the Philadelphia 76ers, which of course are owned by Josh Harris. So he works for the Josh Harris organization. So as you can see, we've got a wide variety of things for students, for professors, for really anyone that needs to understand sports. So first, I'd like to show you our sports fan studies. And as I mentioned, this data that we have here is already pre-formatted in Excel. So if you're doing something with the NFL and you want to be able to look at, sports fandom, you want to look at streaming growth, you want to look at the growth of sports gambling, here is where you would access that data. And all of this data has been pre-formatted in Excel to make it very easy to work with. The data is incredibly clean and incredibly easy to work with. You simply download the file, pulls it up in Excel, and then the data is all there. Literally, there are 70 tabs on the file. I'm not going to show you the specific data today, but if you would like to see it, I am happy to have another session where I can get a little bit more detailed. Now, another area that we cover is what we call our fan studies and team by team data. So here is where you can literally access data all the way back to 2020 focused on team by team. So if you're doing a project in sports marketing, when you're looking to understand sponsorship, you're looking to be able to understand whose fans might be better suited for a particular, whether it's sponsor, whether it's stadium naming rights, whatever it is, here's where you have data that is focused at the team level. We have essentially flipped the data over so you can literally access data across teams, across geography, really anything that you need. The last thing, of course, is our data that we call fans and brands. And here again is great data to be used in a sports marketing, strategic marketing type environment. We literally focus on the 9 categories that are up on the screen. And again, what we have done is that we allow you to look at the data either on a team by team basis or on a league by league basis to understand how fans are engaged across these various categories. And the data gets very brand specific. So again, there's an awful lot of data. There's an awful lot of things that you can use SBRnet with. Remember, I am always willing to come into class. We can work on a project specific scenario. We can work on a data scenario. We can really work in a variety of ways. One of the things I love to focus on, by the way, is the process of using data. How do you want to look at things? Where do you start? Where do you go? How do you take the data and put it and create insights? And then how do you use the data to turn those insights into a story? So again, the University of Florida has access to this data. I encourage you to go to the library website, look at SBRnet, check out sports market analytics, and figure out ways that you would love to use the data with your students as part of your curriculum. Once again, I want to thank you for watching this video, and I'm really looking forward to hearing from you and working with both students and professors at the University of Florida.